Welcome to Tangents, a show about nothing and everything manifested by a bunch of people on the internet somewhere.
Welcome to Tangents. We are literally Tulpa, the podcast. You made us, you thought of us. Here we are. Apparently, you gave birth to this. You're the ones responsible.
Thank you for my life.
You manifested us and now you can't take us back. You opened the box. You can't close it.
Sorry, Pandora, you're stuck listening to us for the next hour.
Welcome to Tangents, the podcast where we have a couple of talking points and then we just see where things go. And normally it goes in very weird directions. So, hey, I'm Alex, and with me is my good friend Cam. Hey, how you doing?
I am a menace to society.
That's not wrong. So, I think we can start off with your topic first, because I think I want to hear this.
Okay.
You've got a rant ready to go, and I am ready.
I'm looking at our talking points document, and I'm going to say right now, this is a very Sega-centric episode.
Oh yeah, actually.
This is very Sega-centric. So let's talk about Phantasy Star Online, a game on the Dreamcast that used the internet to connect with other people online in real time. Revolutionary technology. Fast forward a couple of years, welcome to the horny dimension. It's PSO2 time. All of a sudden, there's big bombas, and everyone is dressed in what can basically be described as string or monster costumes, depending on the fetish. So the thing is, though, is I was a huge fan of PSO2 because I like to grind in games in a way that is casual.
Okay.
Like, so to put it in like other terms, Final Fantasy XIV was a big fan of Eureka, because it was just a pleasant grind. You go in, shut your brain off, have some fun, pop back out. You'd made some progress today. You always have forward momentum without instant gratification.
Yeah, it's that long grind. It's the long game.
Yeah, it's a long game, and I'm a big fan of the long game. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be a YouTuber.
This is true.
The thing is, though, is base PSO2 for America, and, well, rather the North American region, we basically got a major content drop every 2 weeks. So I kind of burned out of PSO2 base because I just couldn't keep up with the grind, because a grind that was supposed to be spread out over 6 months just got condensed into 14 days.
On one side, that's really good that they're pumping out enough content to be able to do that. I mean, each 2 weeks, was it?
Well, it was 10 years worth of backlog.
10 years?
10 or 8, yeah.
How did they have 10 years of back? How long was PSO2 out in the Japanese region?
Like 8 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
What the? Okay, I thought it was out for maybe like 1 or 2 years at most.
No.
Because I remember hearing things about PSO2 back a couple of years ago, and everyone was waiting for it to come over to the North American region, but
I actually played a decent amount on the JP servers because my buddy got us to try a PSO, like base PSO private server that's still running.
Yeah.
And then I was like, screw it. Let's sign up for Japanese accounts, be filthy gaijins, play on the, English blocks. And that was fun. So New Genesis gets announced. I'm very excited. I'm basically playing it by myself, which is probably issue 1 here. But here's the thing. I have a lot of issues with New Genesis, and I don't want to, be the generic game reviewer that's like, the servers had issues for the first week. This has never happened before in MMO gaming, so I'm going to give it a bad score. Like, every MMO that launches has server issues, and how they handle these server issues is what makes or breaks the game. Like, I believe it was Bless Online, I'd like to say, that added more servers, which, when the population boom died down from launch, basically ended up making all of the extra servers and the main ones feel empty. So instead of that, Sega just went, good luck.
oh, they took that route.
I kind of respect it, honestly, but Connie and I trying to play it on day one was a nightmare. There was no login queue. You just had to spam click enter and hope you get in.
Oh, no. Oh, that's gross.
Like, I'm laughing because I have Stockholm syndrome. So,
is that why you enjoy this game so much? Is that why you still play it every now and again?
I like things that are a pain in the ass, and this game pegs me like no tomorrow. So the thing is, so after the launch issues kind of evened themselves out, the game was relatively stable. We have a couple of issues. So not getting into story or gameplay right now, let's talk about what it means to form a party on a philosophical level.
What? No, hold on. You're playing what is essentially space fantasy game in what I think is like a virtual space, is what I understand of PSO2.
I can get into the weird like theory that I have at the end because I feel like I have a solid grasp of what's happening, but I'm not sure if that's the Ritalin talking or if I've actually figured something out.
Okay, so give me your theory. I want to know what you mean by the philosophical aspects of this. Are you talking like the same line of Final Fantasy XIV, where there's only meant to be one Warrior of Light, but somehow there's always more?
When you form a party in PSO2, you group up and you are now a unit of Ark's defenders. You are now going out into the world to defeat the dolls and keep Central City and all of Helfa safe.
Okay.
The thing is, though, is with the new system switching from being lobby and mission-based to open world, there were a couple of concessions that had to be made. Every area can only hold so many people before it's divided into another room. So their gathering areas have 32 players as its max capacity before it has to make another room for more players.
Okay.
And a room is just an instance, so to speak. So you have like Central Alio 1 and Central Alio like 1-1, 1-2, etc. But so if you go into a lower pop area like Mount Magnus, for example, or Magus, however it's pronounced, that's a cap of 8. So on launch day, when Condi and I were trying to go to Mountain Magnus together to get a little bit of extra experience, he went in before me by about a minute. I followed in after, and we couldn't meet up because it had split our party into 2 separate instances.
Forever apart.
We were together in the location, but apart spiritually. It was awful trying to coordinate getting into one another. And at this point, I didn't know about the system where you could go to one of the fast travel points and just request to be in a room with your homie. I didn't know that at the time, because the game never tells you how this works.
Solid game design. Amazing. Fantastic.
We are not even into the game design yet. So a lot of PSO 2 vets are like, oh, the game is content light, but that's okay. That's how Phantasy Star Online 2 launched. It had basically no content. And it's like, it's been 8 years. Raise your standards. So let's talk about the story.
Please.
Because this is some correct shit. Okay, so you wake up, you fall out of the sky in a pod, you've lost your memory. Cute girl who they want to replace Matoy from the first base game, rather from PSO2. She pops up and she's like, "Hi, I'm girl. Marry me now." And you're like, "Who? Where?" So you wake up, you fight some animals, you fight some dolls, you go to a town, you meet Buff Dad. Buff Dad's the best. Wanna fuck him? Then immediately he just dies. The small town you're at eradicated, and they call the thing that you're fighting Dark Falls, which is weird because in every Phantasy Star game, Dark Falls pops up every millennia, like every 1,000 years.
Okay.
The thing is at the end of PSO2 base, which I believe is relevant to this game because they're still calling us arcs, is the fact that we killed the thing that makes that happen. We went back to the start of time and beat it up.
You time traveled to beat up something. Fantastic.
We effectively went back in time to commit turbo suicide to just eradicate it from the world forever. And then our waifu showed up and saved us. So then when it was out of our body, we just beat the ever-living shit out of it.
So hold on. If you went back in time to destroy the thing that's causing all these massive destruction events, right? Does that mean none of it ever happened?
Maybe. Fuck if I know.
That's not a sufficient answer. Because if you done that and come back and it's still happening, then clearly you haven't.
Well, no, so the thing
Something went wrong.
The thing is you took the embodiment of the Dark Falls and like everything it represents, called the Primordial Darkness. You took that into your body by killing a woman named Shiva, who was the vessel that they made to contain it. Are you still with me? There's a lot of missing details here. Again, we might just have to have an episode that's just trying to understand the PSO2 story because it is cracked. It is just so many locations. But so you take that and you decide, well, I can already just innately time travel. Is that explained? No. But I can just innately time travel. Let's go back with this thing that's trying to reincarnate out of my body all the way back to the start of time so it'll just starve and die.
Wow, that's grim.
So then, as we go back in time, we're saved by our waifus, and then we just kill this thing. So that's it. That's the end of explanation. That's the end of Dark Falls. That should be the end of Dark Falls. PSO2 New Genesis. Hey there, sport. Dark Falls just killed your dad. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So then you get to Central City. There's a mysterious blue-haired man named Crawford who heads up ARCs. This will be important later.
How important? Do I really need to commit this to memory?
Vaguely.
Okay.
So from there, you want to know what the story is? Go to Mount Magnus. Girl forgets what she's fighting for despite her dad just getting killed maybe an hour ago. Breaks down. We save her. All right, now grind on Mount Magnus for maybe 10 hours. All right, good job, sport. You did it. All right, now we're going to go to the laboratory. Oh, girl has discovered how to fight. All right, now grind at the laboratory for 10 hours. All right, that's it. We're going to Resel Forest. We're getting a weird signal in there. We got to rescue our trainer, Dozer. I haven't talked about him. He's irrelevant. So then you go to Resel Forest after grinding in the laboratory for 10 hours. You kill a dragon mech, and that's it. That's the fucking story. It is 4 missions.
Wait, Genesis is just 4 missions.
It is 4 missions and then material and resource grinding.
Okay, each mission, how long does each mission last for? Just roughly.
20 minutes.
This is going to be like a major update?
Yeah, so basically gameplay leveling is miserable. In base PSO2, we had missions that were known as keys, which were special things designed to give you a crap ton of experience that served as a catch-up mechanism and easy leveling. They were nice to do, had decent rewards for leveling gear so you'd never be outpaced, and they were a wonderful catch-up mechanism and a good way to level alt classes. They were fantastic. New Genesis doesn't have that because there's only 20 levels. That's okay. That makes it a little bit more achievable, or so I fucking thought. No, you have to now level up to PSE bursts, which now we get to our first issue of Sega game design.
Whoa, hold on. We are now 10 minutes in to the PSO2 run, and we're just getting to the first issue.
Yeah, I mean, the story has its own issues. First of all, they didn't give me my toy back. How dare they? She said she loved me at the end of PSO2, and I'm so lonely right now, and I was counting on that coming back. But no, straight up and down. Here's how the PSE system works, okay? And not everyone knows this. The game, again, never explains. So, here's what happens. Here's how this works. When you get into an area, there are 3 possible events that can come up. A PSE event, a trigger quest, or a chaotic trigger quest.
Okay.
So these are our 3 public events. A PSE event is an area marked with an E where you just kill things in the designated E area. And that'll up your level of PSE. You need to get PSE to level 5 to trigger a burst. So doing that will get you levels of PSE. Then you have to do the trigger quests when they pop up because they'll override any E's on the map. And you just do that, and that also has a chance to give you another level of PSE. Chaotic triggers are just 2 popping at once, and same deal. It has a chance to raise your PSE. And when it reaches level 5, you get a PSE burst, experience gain goes up, items drops go up, rare enemies spawn that drop silver and gold weapons which can be used to upgrade your current gear. Again, it seems like a straightforward system, doesn't it?
Yeah, this sounds pretty bog standard for most things.
Unfortunately, killing enemies that aren't in these designated zones have a chance to lower the PSE level, and since the game never explains it, you get Zerg idiots in your lobby just obliterating everything in sight for experience, constantly keeping you away from optimal experience by lowering your PSE to 0.
Wow, that sounds garbage.
So other players are actually an active hindrance to leveling now. So the MMO is already saying like, hey, either get a group or go solo. You're not going to be able to do this with randoms. Okay, whatever.
Oh, no.
And here's the issue. You have to do this to level up, which increases your battle power, which is what gates all the quests. So this is why Mount Magus took me 10 hours to get through. Because no matter what lobby I went into, I could never get a PSE burst to spawn consistently. I saw maybe 3.
Why are you still playing the game at this point?
Stockholm Syndrome. So now here comes the next issue, which is another favorite. So I finally got my battle power up to 1184, which is required to do urgents. Urgents are quests that are across the map, like the entire thing, and they spawn just every couple of hours. There's no real set schedule. There was a set schedule in base PSO2, but they had a lot more urgent quests, so you could plan your day more around it. So I can kind of understand why we don't have it. And they drop acceptable loot. We only go up to 4 stars of rarity right now as opposed to 15, so it's not like end of the world if you miss it. But the thing is I'm 1184. I'm level 16. I want to be at level 20 so I can start leveling my next job because I'm not really feeling Hunter all that much. They made magic more potent in New Genesis, and it's actually really fun now. But so I get to the quest to do the urgent quest, and I'm sitting there. I'm waiting for it to spawn. I see everyone else move into action. They seem to be just shooting the air. I figure they're just kind of like warming themselves up, waiting there. Someone goes, "Hey, Northman, why aren't you attacking?" And I was like, "What do you mean? There is no boss. It is a known enemy in Phantasy Star 2 Online New Genesis that the urgent quest, the major fun bosses, are just invisible for some players with no rhyme or reason."
That sounds like a major bug. Are you sure it's not just like it's not just like client side at that point?
But here's the thing. It does something weirder, I found, when it doesn't spawn. And I've reinstalled the game like 3 times now on multiple hard drives, so I know it's not fully on me. Other player cosmetics just stretch to like the millionth degree because it's getting hit by wind that the client isn't registering and just sets it to its absolute extremes. So everyone's cosmetics that have cloth physics just take up the entire screen now. They spaghettify.
And this is okay. Hold on. This game has been out for how long at this point? Like 8 years?
2 weeks for New Genesis. Like 8 years for everything else.
Okay.
To be fair, New Genesis is stapled on top of base PSO, so I can imagine that caused some issues.
Although, to be fair, didn't they do with like with the massive update, didn't they like overhaul the system as well? Because I remember seeing some stuff about that.
They overhauled combat, and combat I'll get to in a second. They overhauled the cosmetic system, which has been a very nice change, I would say. Like, I don't want to just be negative, but there's been a lot of issues to just start the game. And I do enjoy going in and just mindlessly farming, but I need to find an alliance or something because I'm starting to get like, why am I doing this? Why am I playing this game?
Exactly how I feel whenever I play an MMO, because I always end up playing MMOs by myself because other people... Like, with me, it's a case of I've hopped MMOs so many damn times because people are like, yeah, let's play this game. I get it, and we try it, and then they stop after 2 weeks, and I keep going. And then they go, hey, let's try this new game. I was like, okay, but please don't stop after just 2 weeks. They stop after 2 weeks, but I keep going. It's just the same thing over and over, which is why I kind of settled after all these different MMOs on just freaking Final Fantasy XIV, because it's just one that I can just focus on. But still, I'm basically playing it by myself. Because everybody stops after a couple of weeks, but I keep going.
Okay, so now let me just talk about combat for a quick second, because this is from the perspective of a serial hunter player. I've got some issues with how combat works now. Here's the thing. Hunters in PSO2 are the thick boys. We literally have skills that say, if you think you're going to die, just don't, and then you don't die. Hunters are effectively the tanks. The thing is, though, is back in PSO2, we had eight different moves we could do, different photon arts, that basically opened up a little bit of playstyle discrepancy between sword users. Not everyone was going to use the meta combo. Some people just liked other things. Like, I had my own way of playing sword. It wasn't optimal, but it got me through, and it was fun. You only have 3 PAs at most per weapon, maybe 4 if you're lucky. Basically, every weapon is now simplified to the extremes.
Oh, no.
Hunters have basically been devolved into block, parry, counter ad infinitum. Fighters are literally so good that it is a joke that if you are not playing fighter, you are leeching, because fighters just do that much damage. Forces, the mages, congratulations. Block, parry, counter, block, parry, counter. They play the exact same as hunters, just at a distance. Kind of disappointed. Techers, the buffer supports, are now like strong melee fighters with magic, which I'm kind of about. But they basically have 2 PAs and access to all magic and stuff. And they also have a block, and they just play whack-a-mole. And I think that they've been changed for the better because of it. But it's like every last class has been devolved into like a hyper simplified formula, it feels like, and I'm not a fan of that. Mm-hmm. Like, this is sounding kind of hypocritical because I, in PSO, played Scion classes, which play a lot more like the New Genesis ones do. But the thing with the Scion classes versus New Genesis is the Scions had interesting things going about them. So for Hero, who was dodge, counter, their entire thing was getting a perfect dodge and then countering. That's the distillment of their entire class. They had other things like, okay, you have to switch weapons to keep your gauge rolling. You have to routinely keep your dot up if you want to do optimal damage. You have to switch to your twin machine guns to reload your magic so you can do more techniques with your sword. Like, you had to do all of these little micro tasks to keep your dodge counter going with maximum efficiency. So watching a good hero fighter do endgame content literally looks like they're just playing Dante Devil May Cry 5. Like, it's obscene. And then Itole, or Itwol, however they want to pronounce it, the way that those worked is they had their moves. You could stick to one weapon, and they had their moves. But if you used your weapon action at the right time, you would switch your move. So you had effectively 12 photon arts in 6 slots that you could just toggle between based off context. And your verticality was important, and how you moved was important. So there's a lot more depth to even the, one-trick pony classes.
Okay.
And that's now just missing. It's just gone entirely. The fact that the magic user and the thick boy tank play almost the exact same is, just kind of a letdown. But I don't want to take too much time on this. I got my feelings out about New Genesis. I'm sorry. I just looked at the timer.
Yeah, you can't go off for 24 minutes and be like, I don't want to take too much time.
But allow me one last tangent, because I want to hear your thoughts on this theory, because it is going to sound like literal nonsense.
Okay, shoot.
Okay, so the planet that we're on is called Helpha. That's going to be important. So in base PSO2, there was this thing called the Akashic Record, which was a record of the entire universe up to that point. So it basically was constantly recording everything that happened everywhere eternally. And the person who maintained that was a being known as Shion, who was a hot mommy in booty shorts who was allegedly a scientist at one point. I don't know. I don't care enough. So the thing is, though, is eventually Shion bites the big one. Oopsie poopsie, maybe I should have been paying attention. And she makes a backup of herself called Zhao. Zhao is not a big laboratory mummy, but is instead just small boy. And he can't access the Akashic records. He just is like Shion in a way. Shion basically made it so Arcs had a power source. So Akashic records lose their maintainer when Shion dies. Zhao can't get into them, and eventually the records begin to dream because they are apparently real and apparently have feelings. And it falls asleep and starts dreaming of a planet called Omega. And Omega is a fantasy world based off of Phantasy Star 1 that has events stolen from Phantasy Star Online 2 video game. But it's to give you more context to some characters' backstories. The thing is, though, is we take care of that, we wake the Akashic record back up, we stop its data from being corrupted, because if you edit the record, it edits time, apparently. I don't know. So here's the thing. So the planet that it dreamed up was called Omega. Now, Crawford, the guy I was talking about before, shares a lot of color similarities with Zhao, and the planet is called Helpha. Remove the H and you got Alpha, and now it's Alpha and Omega. So I'm convinced that our beautiful little boy from base PSO2 has made his own Akashic records, and people are getting sucked into it, because whenever one of them makes a planet, it makes a black hole that just consumes everything. Again, this is all science.
What I just heard, I believe, is the closest thing in real life I have seen to the meme of...
Pepe Sylvia?
It's a conspiracy of Charlie from Sunny with a...
Yeah, Pepe Sylvia?
That is some solid conspiracy level shit.
PSO2 literally has the world's most cracked lore, and it is the funniest thing to try and just tell people about, because it makes no goddamn sense. So anyway, some girl whose both of her parents died, she's now god of a planet, don't think about it, she invites us to tea, but don't worry, the tea is a trap. It's literally just nonsense, and it's the best. I played through 8 years worth of story, and could I tell you what happened? No!
Okay, just a quick tangent, just a quick side hit at the moment. I had no idea that meme was called Pepe Sylvia.
He's shouting about Pepe Sylvia.
I've never watched Sunny. I've never watched it.
Yeah, basically, he's trying to figure out where to deliver the mail, but it's all addressed to Pepe Sylvia. And he's going on this whole cracked tangent trying to figure out, who the hell Pepe Sylvia is. He's misreading Pennsylvania.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So he's hunting for a person that doesn't exist because he's literally looking at the name of a state.
Okay, right. Well, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is something that I've always been told, like, you should give it a try. I give it a try. I don't like it, like, the first couple of episodes. And they're like, oh, you got to watch until, like, season 3 where it really starts, like, becoming its own. It's like, that's, like, 2 whole seasons I got to burn through. I'm not sure I want to give that much to it if I don't want to like it.
Yeah.
Can I just skip to season 3? It's like, no, you got to understand who the characters are. You got to watch season 1. It's like, that's not really a good thing. If you're saying it gets good after a certain point, you gotta, because at that point, going back to what you were saying, it is essentially just Stockholm Syndrome at that point. You gotta stick with it because you've invested so much time. No, I'm good.
At a certain point in watching Always Sunny, it got to a point where it became like they all became caricatures of themselves, and it just became like too painful to watch.
Ooh.
Like too much secondhand embarrassment.
Like that was the same thing with Parks and Recreation. Like the first season and a half, I think it was kind of meh, like really bad, and then it really starts to find its footing.
Yeah.
And it's like, shows you shouldn't have to like set aside like a solid 24 hours to like get into something and be like, okay, now it's finally getting good, you know?
Yeah, like that's the issue. I feel like so many companies are just making the things to become like a serialized thing, you know, like, oh, there's always a post-movie credits scene. There's always another season coming out. Like, no, just tell me a good story and leave. Tell me a good story and leave. That's all I'm after.
I mean, the after credit scenes. Like, what was the first one that did that? I think it was like Pirates of the Caribbean 1 was the first one that did that. That was the first one I remember, but I don't know if it was the first film to actually really do that. Because I remember like watching Pirates of the Caribbean in the cinema and then coming away, and about 3 years later watching it on, oh my god, VHS. Holy crap. And we just like left it running as I went to like the kitchen and something. We were just doing something, and then we came back and there was Monkey in the treasure chest. Like, oh, there was something else we haven't seen yet. It's like, what is this? Like nobody knew about it. Then it was like, we found secret monkey chest.
So speaking of things that modern companies do, you want to get into your topic?
Oh, wow. That's an incredible segue. You mentioned at the beginning, seems to be a very Sega-centric episode.
It is.
Which was completely unintentional. So, hey, you know what's kind of been blown up in popularity over the last couple of years?
Egg enemas.
And that, actually, I will need to look into that. VTubers has been... as a whole has been exploding recently, especially in the last year and a half.
I'm gonna get death threats for my next statement. I despise VTubers as a concept.
Really? Okay, hold on. Okay, we'll jump onto my topic, but let's follow this thread. How so?
Okay, so hear me out here. As someone who used to do Let's Play, I'm a big fan of people in their rooms making content because they just love doing it, okay? That's like my whole thing. Back in 2016, back before I had any sort of control over myself and my anger and was just lashing out at anything that annoyed me, I warned very loudly on stream of a day when corporate Let's Plays would show up. That day is now. These are corporate Let's Plays. These are people pretending to be in our indie space, reaping max bills because they are sponsored by a company to make this content for the company. Like, these are literal corporate Let's Players, and that disgusts me.
Okay, you're talking about the high-end ones. You're talking about the high-end
That's a
people.
majority of the ones people talk about.
Yeah, the majority of them, but...
There are indie VTubers, but when you think VTubers, you think of the dog girl that people want to bone for some reason, or the weird shark thing, or a pirate mommy. People don't think about the indie ones, they think about Project Melody.
Is Project Melody actually a corporate one?
Actually,
no, because that's an indie one.
I think Project Melody made her own corp. I think she made her own corp, actually. So I gotta rescind that one. Melody's fine.
Because I remember there was that whole controversy about how the person that was making it was trying to like essentially blackmail her to try and get like more money and kind of stuff out of her because she became popular. So that was an extremely scummy move, which is an entire topic for another time of, can you ask for more if your product becomes more successful than you realized in the initial point? No. Okay, actually, no, we don't need to talk about that subject. That's just a shitty move.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty cut and dry one. But no, that's why I don't like VTubers, though, is because the majority of them are just a corporate Let's Play, and I find that disgusting.
Nah, I don't agree with that. Like, the big ones, yeah, which are kind of like were the forefront, but as it started to gain, there's, as I guess you could call it, just like indie VTubers. Like, it's been exploding. Like, I follow a couple people on Twitter that have just, they started making their own custom models for people to, like, get into it, and they've just been growing and growing. Like, they started off with, like, 1 or 2 over, like, a couple of months, and now they're, like, doing 4 or 5 commissions a month now, which is amazing for them. But it's interesting because, to me, VTubing, it's just another level of accessibility to be able to do stuff, because not everybody is comfortable showing a camera in their face, you know, and having their face out there. It adds this level of kind of like, you still want to do this, you want to make creative stuff, and you want to do this kind of things, but you don't want to put yourself out there. You want that level of anonymity, or you just don't feel comfortable with yourself enough to be able to put yourself out there. Which, to me, it's just opening up the creative spaces to allow people to just, you know, do what they want to do. It adds a bunch of more things for people to enjoy. Should everyone do it? No. Some things out there are just extremely weird.
Yeah, I mean, half the appeal of VTubers is the, like, over-the-top personality. So if you can't match that, you're kind of having a little bit of an issue getting into the kitchen.
Does it mean that they shouldn't try? Absolutely not.
No,
go for it.
You're not going to start good. You got to suck first before you're, like, good at it. So, like, try, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that a lot of people don't realize, or they understand, but they just want to hopefully ignore, is you're not going to be good to start with. You're not going to start off the gate and be like, I'm successful. No, you're going to suck. And you have to work your way up and improve yourself and adapt. You're going to have to just practice, as bad as it sounds.
I mean, practice doesn't... Look, this is one of those things that, like, we're dangerously teetering on, like, me just dominating this entire episode, but, like, I feel like as a society, we are too afraid of failure. We live in one. We live in a society. We live in a society.
Every time I hear society, it's just, you know, slobbering at the mouth now at this point. It's just society. You've just trained me from Calvus.
Every time you say society and I hear you sigh immediately after, I have a graphic that pops up on screen that just goes society time, bottom text, and it's just like the hyper yeehaw face.
God damn it.
But no, I feel like we are too hung up on the idea of failing and not on what failing represents. Because failure does represent that, yes, you did not complete your task, but you have learned something from it. And that is what is critical. Like, if you learn from a failure, you will fail less in the future. And that is what makes failure good. Am I upset that when I tried to push a maintained 150 RPM on the exercise bike, that my ass cramped to the point where 2 cheeks became 1? Yeah, I'm upset about it. But you want to know what I learned? I have to train my glutes more before I try that again. Like, what's that? 7 dozen minigame monthly attempts? Well, the last one got pretty damn close. Gonna try again at some point. So long as you learn from what happened, you become better at what you're doing, which is, I think, something that people need to understand. Like, you can fail, you can be sad about it, but if you learn from it, have a little bit of positivity about it, because you're going to fail a lot less now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Just gonna like back this up 100%. It's been ingrained into people so much that you can only succeed. If you fail, you are a failure. You're not allowed to do it. It's like that meme of like, no practice, only good. You know? It's just
we need an entry-level engineer, requires 10 years experience in 8 different languages.
Good luck with that one, buddy.
Yeah, that's what
you
I'm
need
saying,
to have
like,
at least 5 years experience in this language that's only been around for 3. Good luck.
Yeah, like, only success, no failure, but failure is what makes success.
Yeah, if you fail at something, that means you've tried, which is, let's face it, one of the biggest steps that you can do. If you look at something and be like, that'd be really cool to do, I really want to try this. This seems interesting. But then you psych yourself out, being like, I'll just fail. I'll just be bad. I'll never be as good as so-and-so that, you know, you watched and they're doing it, and maybe that's got you interested in it. Just do it. Jesus. Just do a Shia LaBeouf, right? Just freaking do it. Because, yeah, you're gonna suck at it, but you're gonna have fun and be like, maybe this is for you, maybe this isn't for you. And if it is for you, follow it up and just keep going at it. If failure is only failure if you let it keep you down and you don't learn from it.
However, there is also the other concept of even if you think you're succeeding but you're not seeing any major gains, you need to step back and readjust your approach. This is something that I never did with YouTube, and that's why my channel kind of died and I got burnt out. Because I never looked at what wasn't working to fix it, I only looked at what was. You need to be able to analyze the whole of who you are and what you're doing to understand your failures completely.
Like a really indispensable tool, just not just for like growth in like say like YouTube or anything like this, but just generally in life, is like critical self-reflection. Being able to like take a step back and objectively look at what you're doing and how you're doing it.
And it's possible to be too hard on yourself if you do actually do that, because there's a non-zero chance that you can just like over psych yourself when you're like looking into what went wrong and be like, oh God, what have I become?
Yeah.
Like I have to routinely remind myself that I'm not an irredeemable piece of shit because I overanalyze. And then I have to take a step back and be like, you're doing it again. But that's because I failed a bunch and I learned. Ooh.
Oh, it's almost like what we're saying we're actually putting into practice these days. Oh.
Anyway, Sonic is a VTuber. I really dragged the boat out to sea on that one.
No, it's actually okay. Yeah, I mean, my main talking point for today is just like Sonic is a VTuber. I don't like the concept of it because, as what you were saying, it kind of like ties in really nicely. As this is essentially just a corporate Let's Player at this point. It's, to me, this is essentially like large companies and corporations just trying to jump on an emerging trend and just try and make a cash grab. And it's just so blatant and just kind of so obviously aimed towards people with nostalgia for that franchise or company or whatever. And it's just like, we know you're going to go for this and we know you're going to spend money on this. And we don't care if it dilutes the area that it's in. We just don't care. We just want the money.
Here's the weird thing, though. This is going to sound like completely ass backwards for me, but I'm weirdly in support of it. Not out of nostalgia. No, listen to me. Not out of nostalgia, but because it is Sega. For all of my faults with PSO2 New Genesis and the Sonic franchise, those issues only arose because Sega was willing to experiment.
Yeah, I mean, Sega experimented, I guess, but so did Nintendo, and I don't know where this thought was going. I'm fumbling because I don't care. I really don't care, because to me, all I can see is they're just trying to cash in on this VTubing, just phenomena at the moment. And it's so obvious, because it's the same,
but so is HoloLive EN. They saw it worked in Japan and went, we'll cash it out in America.
Yeah, but they built that up and they kind of made the space more than anything. Yeah, there's a difference of making a space and then just seeing like, this area is getting really popular. Let's just try and get in there while we can and just try and make as much money as we can before it phases out.
Hear me out. But what if Sega was already there first?
How? When were they?
I'll give you one name. Hatsune Miku. Owned by Sega. Made by Sega.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay, but that's... To me, Hatsune Miku is...
It's a close concept.
It's a close concept, yes. But then why didn't they turn Hatsune Miku in... Have they turned her into a VTuber? Hold on.
I don't think it's physically possible because her voice is AI generated. So, like, she wouldn't be able to react live unless someone was, like, transcribing their emotions about Silent Hill 8 live.
Well, actually, there is a VTuber called Zentrea, which is, has been popping up in my stuff, my YouTubes.
The text-to-speech one.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility to have Hatsune Miku as a VTuber.
Like, that's the thing. They were already in the market of pushing virtual girls on lonely weeaboos.
Yeah, but then again, it's still Sonic. It's not as if, like, they were there. It's not like they're pushing Hatsune Miku.
Are you trying to imply that people don't want to fuck Sonic?
I was trying to avoid this.
I know you were, but that's why I had to take the hammer and break in.
I was so desperately trying to sidestep that.
And yet, here I am, making you think of that one image of Sonic coming out of the shower.
Oh, stop, for the love of God. But no, going back onto point, Sonic as a VTuber, I just absolutely despise because I can't see it nothing more than just a cheap cash grab. Oh, it's just so annoying because there's a lot of people that are doing interesting things out there with the VTubing stuff, and I like the accessibility and what it allows people to do. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people out there that are just abusing the system for, like, jumping in on it and just trying to make a quick buck. There are people that do that.
Some more fart stream.
What? I like what I'm saying here. It doesn't just kind of apply to VTubing. It just applies to all trends at the same time. It's like people that just see open spaces and emerging areas which are kind of gaining traction and filling a space that people didn't realize that they wanted, and then people just be like, I'm gonna make as much damn money on this as possible and just abuse it and then ruin it for everyone else. I despise that. And it's the same idea with like Sonic the VTuber. It is like KFC and Wendy's and whatever else as like Twitch channels. It's like, what does this bring to your brand? Why are you bringing this? Like,
it brings discussion.
No, it just brings, it's just cheap marketing. It's like, okay, Twitch has been blowing up over 2020. Let's give Wendy's a Twitch channel. Why? Why? You make fast food. Why are you in this area?
Here's the thing. A marketing campaign is successful if we're talking about it. We're talking about Sonic as a VTuber, which means it was a successful marketing push because now we're talking about Sonic T. Hedgehog Cockmaster Extreme. Likewise, we're talking about Wendy's and the other restaurants making Twitch channels to capitalize on it, which means that it was a successful move because it's brought them into the forefront of our minds. What this is doing is creating what is known as a brand touch. People are more resistant to advertising now more than ever. It takes more brand touches now than it did 5 years ago. It used to only be 11 brand touches. Now someone has to interact with the brand 13 times before they even consider buying. So what we're seeing right here is more entry points for people to get those brand touches. Someone might be on the Japanese side of Twitch, and they might see Sonic in the recommendations of Korone-chan, or whatever the dog people want to bone is named. That's the thing. These are creating brand touches, more ways in which these brands are inescapable to convince you to buy their products because they're in your mind.
Okay, yeah, I understand that concept. I get that. But at the same time, they only come up in my mind when I'm thinking of this seems terrible. I don't like this. So, I mean, bringing it up into my mind and only having negative kind of, connections doesn't seem like a good marketing ploy.
It doesn't, but remember that you're probably not their target demographic.
This is true.
They're looking for the TikTok dancing Zoomer at this point, or whatever generation is next. No, I don't say that with a hint of malice in my voice. They're now the target demographic. They're moving into their late teens, early 20s. They have disposable income because they made smarter choices than we millennials did. A lot, I hope more went into trade. I don't actually know if they did or not. But that's the thing, is we're no longer the target demographic. And because of that, these marketing campaigns seem weird, but they're working. If they weren't working, they wouldn't be doing them.
Well, I don't know, because to me, marketing and advertisements, they just seem to be throwing so much at the wall at this point that it just seems very shameless and just as if they're desperate for things now.
No.
They're just trying to do as much as damn possible, and it's just, at this point, just stop. It's just so fucking annoying.
There's an entire boardroom behind all these decisions. That's the cold reality of it. These are decisions made by committee, not in desperation, but in calculation. Sonic's not going to be releasing anything for another year. What is Sonic supposed to be talking about now? What is the brand messaging? Well, here's an idea. We can humanize the brand by making Sonic into a VTuber. We can make people relate more personally if they decide to watch Sonic, and if not, then Sonic shows up in the recommendations of YouTube clips of different VTubers. It spreads Sonic everywhere through the power of SEO, and it humanizes the brand. And again, it's the all-important brand touch.
I don't know. It's just... I brought this up mainly for the fact that you work in marketing. This is one of the things that you do. I don't know anything about marketing. All I know is what I see and how I feel about it. So it was this interesting kind of, you do it as job. Me, I do those weird feeling thought things. So it's bringing up this discussion of just marketing just feels so, I don't know. The way I put it is feels so disingenuous.
That's because you're used to it. You're used to the techniques. A lot of people aren't. And even when we think that we are above the pull of marketing, we're not. Marketing is just mental manipulation in a way that doesn't get us legally in trouble. And we're back. Was that an ad break? No, we both wanted chips.
I just wanted more tea. Oh god, I just realized I am becoming more and more British the more I go on. Holy crap.
He's losing his humanity and going hollow. It's okay, I got some salsa. It's the American equivalent of tea.
To be fair, it's green tea. So less milk, and it's just I don't know.
But yeah, so marketing is essentially mental manipulation in a way. So here's the thing. Nowadays, it's not enough to just get your product out there and make a good product. It's unfortunate. You have to basically get people excited. You have to engage people in a way that leaves them with, a good feeling about you and your product and you as a company. So
yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that I don't think is, and I see that it is necessary, but I don't think we need to be bombarded at every single point of just, there's so much going on in life for everybody now that we can't just constantly have see these things being bombarded on every single aspect of our lives to be like, you need to care about us.
Well, this is the issue of marketing. Because it is so crowded, that's why it's now the way it is. Because there are so many things people are trying to sell you, that's why it has to be this way.
Yeah.
The reason why people want to get into new mediums of advertising, like the Oculus debacle we had a couple of weeks ago at this point, I'd like to say, is because companies, we need new ways to reach out to customers. Like, there's a lot of products that just fizzle out because they never find their audience. Like, for example, the company I worked with before my current company had an amazing app, a bunch of users, and we failed to monetize them. But we marketed effectively. So by the time we went under, we had millions of users. Maybe not millions. We had over 1 million. But that's why companies, for example, sorry, I keep playing with this fucking magnet. Companies realized that paid ads weren't as effective on YouTube because people were using ad block.
Yep.
So what did they do? The YouTube sponsorship. So now we have ads that you can't block but can skip, which now puts the Oedipus for keeping the ad entertaining on the YouTuber so people don't skip it. Case in point, Corridor Digital doing sponsor wars. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I will admit, I'm a massive fan of Corridor Digital's work. I love watching their stuff. I've been watching them since...
They're phenomenal.
Yeah, I've been watching their channel, especially Corridor Crew, from the inception of it. I've been following them all the way. I've also multiple, whenever they've been saying, we're hiring, I've been on the edge of just going for it.
Do it, man. What's the worst that happens? You get a job?
No, I moved to LA.
Oh, you're right. That is a fate worse than death.
The main reason I didn't do it is because I didn't feel I was qualified enough to go into it. That's why I didn't go for it.
Remember that failure is the spice of life.
Yes, but preparation and knowing knowing the limits of what you know at the time is good.
Hit 150 RPM on the bike, Alex. Cramp your ass shut. Find a way to deal with it.
Look, all I'm saying is if I'm going to be going into this field with Corridor Crew and all that kind of stuff, if I was to apply for them, I want to make sure that when they say this is not a learning opportunity, this is you coming to work for us, you need to be up to scratch. I'm up to frickin' scratch because I would be working with people that I admire, okay?
Valid.
I wouldn't want to be, throwing my hat into the ring for it to be just a hat that's all crumpled and just covered in shit.
Here's the thing. It's not like you apply and get the job. You would have to go through interviews and an art test.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I knew at the time I wasn't ready.
So what I'm saying is there's no way you'd be put in that position.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I just didn't go for it because I knew I wasn't ready for that. I need to refine my skills first.
Gotcha.
That's all that was.
But yeah, no. So when I say that marketing really is just mental manipulation, it's not in the malicious sense. It's more in the we just want people to pay attention to us, and no one will form an attachment to a brand unless that brand is humanized, doing good work, making a good product, properly reaching out. It's not like I'm saying, marketing exists to brainwash you into...
Oh, never is that the case.
I mean, that does happen, but most of the time that's the CIA running a marketing opportunity.
Yeah, I guess this all kind of boils down to the methods being used are just evolving to try and fit in with the current status of everything. So always having to evolve to make sure the marketing works because things eventually lose efficacy as they go on, all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I guess I just seen too much of it all.
You're jaded.
Yeah, I just don't like it. Can we just stop? Can we just slow down, please?
We can never.
There's just so much.
We can never.
Let's take it down to the root cause, I guess. Marketing is the fault of society.
Bottom text.
I hate it.
I mean, this is the thing. So long as there's a product to sell, regardless of society, there will always be marketing of some sort. Like, even if we lose the internet, go back to caveman times, Clark's got a neat shiny rock, he is going to be shouting from the rooftops, telling people he's got a neat rock. Come and trade with Clark. Clark got good rock. You want good rock. See self in rock. Rock pretty. You want buy rock.
Clark is my favorite bugbear.
But like that's the thing though, is so long as there is something that someone wants you to buy, there will be advertising of some sort.
I think it's just a case of I'm just so fed up of just malicious marketing at this point. Just scummy marketing as well.
Well, that's the issue with like social
good marketing
media.
I have no issue with. I have no issue with like genuinely good marketing stuff. But when it's just like so much and so bad and it's just obvious what it is, just stop, please. Just stop. Like
that's the thing. What is obvious to us might be our own preconceived notions interfering with the reality of a situation.
Yeah.
Let's look back really quick. Sonic is a VTuber. You could say that's a cash grab, and it might be.
It is.
Listen to me. Wouldn't it also be realistic to think that it is a new form of community management?
Yes and no. I mean, I feel like that's just you putting a label onto it because you know the trade. At the same time, like what they're essentially just doing is they're hiring an actor to pretend to be a blue hedgehog digitally and interact as if they are said character. This is essentially a digital version of the character actors from Disneyland, but playing games. Most likely just going to be solely Sega games as well. So it brings together this idea of Sonic is essentially just jerking himself off playing his own video games constantly.
I cannot wait to watch Sonic T Hedgehog try and farm Gigantamax enemies in freaking PSO2 New Genesis. I didn't touch on this, but I figure this is a funny segue to get away
Sonic
from
the Hedgehog ASMR farting into microphone. Oh, just the concept of that, because some artist would have to draw Sonic's ass cheek.
and Donut.
Oh my god, and the thing is, they probably have so many assets of it already.
Did you hear what happens to Disney animators? I think this might just be an urban rumor.
Did they get put down?
Yes. Yeah, no, real talk. The Gigantamax enemies in PSO2, which I'm sorry to loop back to it. I know we left that topic long and dead behind us. They only spawn during thunderstorms. Now, what do you think a good thunderstorm duration would be for a super boss fight, Alex?
Super boss fights, I would say, would last maybe between 10 to 20 minutes at most. Ideally, because you don't want it to drag on too long, you don't want it to be too short, because if it's too short, it doesn't feel like it's a big thing.
Yeah.
I would probably say a thunderstorm maybe double that time, lets people form a party to go into it, and then a little bit of leeway on the other side. So I'd say between 40 and 50 minutes.
Okay, so that's a reasonable estimation. So Sega assumed that you would be able to get 32 people all at level 20 with 40 plus gear on literally every slot. Sega assumed you'd get all 32 of them into the same lobby within 90 seconds. And kill the boss at the same time.
90 seconds?
90 seconds. At most, the thunderstorms lasted for a minute and a half.
Are you kidding me?
And Sega was like, oh, we're gonna bring it up to 6 minutes. That was a glitch. And it's like, no, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Sega, just because one of your main franchises is mainly about going fast should not be the main concept for your business overall.
Well, here's the thing.
Slow down.
PSO2 operates on a gachapon for the fashion, which is where a majority of the money comes from. I'm convinced that PSO2 base before New Genesis exists like Final Fantasy XIV does, where, oh god, we have to make another Marvel game. Quick, throw another mount on the Mog station. It's the cash cow.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think Final Fantasy gets away with it, mainly because whenever they release a big expansion, it's pretty damn good. So it justifies. There's people out there that mainly go for the mounts. Myself. So I like the mounts. Am I going to pay the 40 quid for it? No.
You know what still angers me about mounts in Final Fantasy?
What would that be?
Oh, you just spent 40 hours grinding Eureka to get a rare super boss mount called Ozma? Oh, what music should Ozma play? Should it be from the game that Ozma's from? Should it be from the Baldesian Arsenal, the dungeon that it came from? Should it be Final Fantasy XI, what this entire area has been a reference to? No, it plays Boundless, the default mount music. Everything plays Boundless. Oh, you just spent a couple weeks grinding for the Ronkin Worm? Oh, I bet you hope it plays Hopple's Doppel? No, it plays Boundless. The default mount music.
Most of the mounts play the default unless it's from a trial. You know, a big
Unless
boss.
it's from a trial or the Mog Station. But even that's a gamble. Like, there's so much music assets in this game. Just use them.
That is like the strongest point of Final Fantasy XIV is just the music. Oh my god, it's so good.
Let's not simp for oversimplify the game. Let's move on to our final topic.
No, I kind of want to go for this. Final Fantasy XIV music is just so good. Dude, how many times when you play, how many times have you played like Shiva Extreme and just been like, oh, that drop, that heel click, the ice breaks, and the rock hits in. Just so good.
I actually don't like Oblivion as a song.
Okay, well, you're a trash human being. What about, Lahi?
I'm not the biggest fan of Lahi.
What music do you like in the game?
I like things like Mobius from like the Epic of Alexander or like the Extreme from E12S.
These things that I have not touched yet. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so here's the thing. This is something that I've been told. I haven't been able to validate it because I'm still on goddamn Lions Prog. Sorry, but frickin' when you get to the final fight of the Savage Eden tier, it starts playing the Extreme, a song from the game that Eden is from. And it is synced to the fight.
Ooh, okay.
So if you pull immediately instead of resetting and like letting all your cooldowns come back before pulling Gaia, you literally just get the fight synced to the music. So all of the big like raid busters, they literally come with like a brass section hit. It's so good.
So I take it there's a lot of people that just go straight in, don't care, and they just try and get the music synced.
Nobody does. It is irresponsible as all hell.
But the music.
I know. I wish it was more common.
But the music. Okay, yeah, let's move on to the final topic. I didn't really have many talking points on this. I feel like this is just something that we both indulge in. And I just wanted to see where we kind of like just go with this topic. I feel like this would be a fun one.
Okay.
VR as just a medium at this point. There's the new Oculus has been announced. You have an Oculus Quest 2 yourself. I do as well.
The Pro has been announced?
Yeah, there's been like a new headset being announced.
Oh.
It's essentially the Quest 3 in theory, I believe. It's along those lines. It looks good. Wait, it's not the Quest. Maybe it's the Vive? Hang on. Fuck, I'm getting this one mixed up.
There was a Vive Pro 2 that just released, and I watched a Thrill Seeker video on it, and it's apparently just bad.
Oh. Oh, well.
Yeah, I own a Quest 1 still. That's my baby.
You're on a Quest 1? Okay.
Yeah. I know, I get a shocking amount of mileage out of it.
Huh. For the life of me, I thought you were on a Quest 2.
Oh, no, I would rather off myself. I've still got 2 years before my Oculus forces me to use my Facebook account.
Okay. I mean, the way I worked around that was I just made a burner Facebook account and that's it.
That'll get banned eventually.
Oh, eventually, but not yet. Until, like, as long as I sign in every now and again and be like, yo, okay, I'll interact with something random, it won't get banned.
That's very valid.
So it's just like, that's fine. The Quest 2, like, there's a bunch of games on there that aren't on Steam that are kind of interesting to me and I wanted to try out. And I like the portability of the Quest 2. Those are the main reasons I got it. Otherwise, I'm very much an Index man myself.
Yeah,
Index. Oh, so good.
The second I get a pay raise from either of my jobs, the Index is the celebratory purchase.
The issue is, though, there's not really all too much coming out for VR at the moment, which is a downside. Like, VR is picking up. Like, over 2020, like, the Quest 2 exploded the VR scene. VR is, I hate to use the term, now starting to become mainstream, which is exciting because it means it's going to show a bunch of developers and, like, large companies, VR is starting to become valid. It's becoming viable.
Here's kind of the thing. We've kind of gone the full technology trend where at first it was only for the rich who could afford to get a DK1 from the original Oculus back before it became Oculus by Facebook. And then prices became a bit more reasonable. You still had your high-end headsets, but you also had things like the Vive coming out to compete with the Oculus. And then Valve comes in with their high end and it's the Index, and then the consumer model becomes available for the not enthusiasts in the form of the Quest. And now that VR is more accessible to people thanks to these lower prices, it just becomes easier for people to get into it, which makes it inevitably become mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the issue is when you buy a Quest, you're basically just ripping off your clothing and selling your body to Facebook.
Pros and cons is the way I put that. Like, I see a lot of people being like, I don't want to get a Quest 2 because it's just going to be Facebook. If Facebook is just being so intrusive, it's like, they're being intrusive anyway. It's either Facebook or another company that you're going to use and this information is going to be sent anyway. Why not have fun with it? And you can limit the damage that it does anyway. Just make a burner account. Like I did. There's ways to bypass this. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's, sure, it's invasive, but it is what it is.
But here's the thing. If your burner account ever gets discovered, your Quest 2 is forever locked and becomes a paperweight and you lose all your purchases.
That's why you make contingencies so that your burner account doesn't get banned, the way that I said earlier.
Yeah, but, like, eventually they will catch on if, like, more and more people do it. That's the thing. That would be my main concern. Like, my thing that I am waiting for is for the Oculus 2 to be jailbroken to not require the big old look of Daddy Zuck. I forgot his name for a second. I don't think lizard people have names. That's why it's always confusing.
I think at some point they are going to realize that, I hope at some point is the better way to put this, that at some point Facebook will realize, don't force something on people like this.
No, they won't. That's the thing. When does big tech ever learn?
Well, that's the thing. They sometimes can, but we gotta push them towards it.
Only when Congress fucking gets on them. But, like, that's the thing. That's not going to happen.
Not with the Quest 2. Not with the Quest anymore. Not with how much they've sold. Because, okay, this is a big gripe of mine. This is a big gripe, and it's very, very niche, okay? What's like one of the big games for VR? Okay, what's like something big for VR that a lot of people play, and it's like
VR chat.
Yeah, it's like the entry point for things. Okay, there are so many goddamn kids on VR chat now, and VR chat is not a place for kids. VR chat should not have 9-year-olds with Oculus Quests on running around screaming as everybody else has to act as essentially daycare for them.
Well, that's why you go to private rooms.
That's why people move to private rooms, which is why public rooms have just declined so much, and it's destroying the game. This is a very, like, I've seen a lot of discourse about this to be like, how can we get rid of this? And people saying it's not so bad. And it's like, how is it not bad? Like, there's literal 6 and 7-year-olds running around in VR with people with very lewd, avatars and stuff, and talking about very adult stuff.
Allow me to mitigate your fears on one half of those issues. The thing is, with a lot of those booby avatars, have you seen the poly counts on those?
Yeah, they destroy things.
They are technical nightmares. Cyberpunk 2077 ran better on the PS4 than a lot of those avatars do on, like, 3090 Ti's.
My big fear is so much...
The Quest can't render those, is what I'm saying.
My big fear, though... Oh, some people make them Quest compatible. Trust me, I've seen some shit. I have seen some shit in Publix.
Yeah, you've spent more time in there than I have, honestly.
My big fear is these kids, this is two-pronged. One, they should not have access to equipment like this. It's 13 plus for a reason for VR. VR chat's like above that, and Oculus, like a Facebook account and Oculus, is 13 plus minimum. This is very irresponsible for the parents, and it's shit. It's the same thing as, like, having, like, a 7 or 8-year-old with a goddamn brand new iPhone. They do not need that crap.
God, dude, I had to wait until I was in a situation of danger for my parents to consider getting me a phone.
Yeah. I mean, at the same point, it's good to have the child to have like a phone in case of emergencies. They don't need the newest iPhone. They do not. You can get them a cheaper phone which works just fine. Does it make calls? Can it text? Yes? Good. It's a good enough phone for a kid. That's all they need it for. But at the same time, with VR, I don't think they should be in there because it's the internet. It's a free game which anybody can join in, and if there are kids running around, I don't like the idea of kids potentially meeting very shady and dangerous people on there, because as much as it's
not kosher.
Yeah, because like there's no way about it. There's gonna be very dangerous people in every aspect of the internet. Like they can blend in easy enough, and I don't like talking about it, but I don't want these kids to be put into this situation when they shouldn't be there in the first place. They really shouldn't be.
Well, that's kind of the nature of millennials parenting. We're not very good at it, as far as I'm able to tell. Like,
I wouldn't even say millennials parenting. I would just say parents in general. It's very rare to find I wouldn't say very rare. It's rare to find
I was
really
about to
good
say,
parents.
going on Tinder in my area will disprove that theory of it being very rare.
Oh no, I'm not as a parent. I'm saying as a good parent. There's a difference.
Yeah,
anyone can become a parent. Being a good one, that's something else.
Well, yeah, that implies effort, which most people don't put into things that don't immediately interest them, which is a really sad statement.
Yeah, that's not just in parenting. That's just in all aspects of life. Even in interpersonal relationships, people can just immediately lose interest and only think about themselves. It sucks.
Had that happen.
Same here, man. Same fucking here. Too many times. People are shit. Society.
Yeah. Society. Bottom text. But yeah, no, that is kind of thing that I have probably made dating a lot harder for myself because I just refuse to be with people who don't have drive. And I don't mean just romantically. I mean, even in my life, if people don't have goals or aspirations to achieve something greater than themselves, I just don't want to associate with them.
I can kind of see where you're coming from with this. For me, it's the same kind of thing. It's if people don't show if people after a while don't show the same level as investment and interest, especially in dating, then that's a massive red flag, because it just seems as if they're coming across as just there for the sake of it. It's just
another checkbox.
Yeah, it's just there for the sake of being there. They're not there for what it's actually about. They're not invested in you and the partnership. That's just a massive red flag.
Yeah. But no, that's kind of my thing too, is you are who you associate with. The people you are friends with, their mannerisms, the way they act will rub off on you.
Oh, 100%.
That's why I'm so selective about the people I let into my life now. It's I need people who are driven and willing to work hard, because if I'm around a bunch of people who just have no desires or dreams or aspirations, eventually I'll lose the energy to work on mine. And while I'm very good at resisting that now, you saw it happen in the last 2 years.
Yep.
So it's
Also, just to kind of hop on that, you can't get rid of me now. I'm in your life already. Too bad I got past the selection process. You can't fucking get rid of me now, buddy.
I love how you just admitted to having no dreams or aspirations or goals, despite organizing this podcast, discovering the format, and doing all the editing in your free time. God, do you want another knife to stab in there?
I'm my own worst enemy.
But no, that's the thing, though, that's why I have, so few people in my life. It is basically by design. I like having a small group of people who have things they want to achieve, and that makes online dating hard, because I don't want to call it a rare trait, because that sounds like I'm sucking myself off. That's unnecessary. I don't think I'm anything special. But it's more so the reality of most people just live for the weekend, and that's okay. That's just not me.
You. Yeah.
I work 6 days a week. I burn myself on a daily basis. I also burn myself out on work on a daily basis. The burning myself part is because I keep touching the stove when it's on. By accident, I'm okay.
You know what? Actually, I want to hear more about this, but I feel we should actually tackle this as a main theme.
Yeah,
not as just
hell yeah.
not as a tangent. I feel like this is actually a good thing to like. It would be kind of like an impromptu AMA of sorts between each other, kind of like just expressing. I feel like it'd be interesting to like get kind of like our views on this kind of side of things, because whenever we do like duos and kind of things, we tend to we kind of naturally gravitate towards this kind of subject anyway. It's a big subject for a lot of people in their lives, but we always kind of like stop ourselves from going too far into it.
Yeah, because like a Calibus just isn't the place for like a long conversation about it, and we could probably fill the 90 minutes in a single episode with this.
And there are so many different facets that we could cover. I think this is, you know what, fuck it. I'll put it in. I'll knock it in.
Episode 3! Well, 2! It's technically 2, but it's the third for us!
Sorry, just to kind of like break it up there a little bit. We really went on a tangent from VR into freaking, life aspirations and online dating.
It's been on the mind, dude. A lot of weird stuff's been happening recently.
Oh god, yeah. It's a whole subject, and I feel like if we go into it, we are gonna be either skirting some very sensitive subjects, or we're just gonna go screw it. We're gonna go balls to the wall. I feel that's gonna be the case.
I mean, I've got some things that I definitely have to put on the illegal to say list.
But, whoa, okay, hold on. Maybe, yeah, I think that's a skirting around that issue. Illegal, dude?
I mean, illegal in a societal sense, not in an actual laws way. You know, when there's things that people think, but you're just not allowed to say.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna do a spicy takes. Maybe we should do this as like a Patreon special.
You know what? That's a good way to not destroy my brand, yeah?
Yeah. Oh my god. So VR is a good thing. We could do VR porn now. Don't need to do online dating.
Big booba VR chat mummies. Man, can we talk about the VR chat sex lounges?
Okay. Before we jump into this, I'm a very reserved person. I am extremely reserved. I have only ever been blackout drunk 2 or 3 times in my life, and even when I'm drinking, I know when to stop, that I don't lose control of myself. I am a very reserved person. I am trying to break out of this recently, and this is why I'm spending so much time in VR chat, which is why I love VR so much. It's allowing me to break past my social anxiety and practice social skills before going out into the big wide world as like lockdown is starting to break out, you know? So like it's multiple prongs for me. This stuff I don't know how to react to. Some of the shit that you see in VR chat is just whoa.
I still cannot get over when we walked into that one lounge and one of the room like images was just like a Fuda girl with 2 e-boys flanking her, and that to this day was the funniest thing I think I have ever seen, as all 5 of us devolved into monkeys trying to break into that room to see what was going on.
One of my favorite things, there is essentially there's a world called the Just Be Club, which is essentially a club with private rooms up top for special times, just people to chill out and do that kind of stuff. I like to go up there and essentially just because each room has a window as has a photo frame out front, which you can take photos inside to show who's in there, and they can say, are they allowing people in? Is it a locked private room? They can even hide who's in the room. I like to go up there as Vladimir Putin and just strike poses in all the different photo frames, and just keep breaking into people's rooms and just making it Vladimir Putin just to annoy them. Because it's harmless, and it's just more Vladimir Putin. But some of the shit when you go in there, holy crap, dude. I kind of envy people that can just go for things, They're not ashamed. They're not like afraid to just go for shit. It's like the most safe way I can say this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can respect it too. I try and do that. I struggle with it sometimes because you know me, I'm very intense all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that does make it a little bit difficult. But the thing is, though, is a lot of the time in VR chat, it's really easy to get people to show how many red flags they're carrying, and sometimes it is the entire flag store.
Oh god, yeah.
My personal favorite is I am a 6 foot tall man. I'm into bodybuilding. I try my best to be huge and massive in a way that is, physically responsible. I use the con. What is a con? A con is a 3 foot tall, small little fox thing in VR chat. It's very cute. But so I have a con that I decked out myself, and I actually went back to the Just Be Club with a couple of friends because I wanted to show them the funny rooms. So we went upstairs into a room to just like watch some stuff on the TV, and I took a photo of my con with my buddy for the room, and this dude kept knocking and like bang like, "Hey, let me in. I like your avatar. Can I come in? You look really cute. Can I come in?" And it's like,
oh,
bro, what list are you on? What list are you on, bro? Oh, God, it was so non-kosher.
Oh, God.
And like he was on a default like e-boy model too.
Man, just there are some very, very telling stereotypes with just like the models that people use in VR chat, and some of them
He must have been a Genshin player.
really telling. Oh my god, it's VR chat is just the Wild West, and it's a VR. It's just so good. It's just for example, for the last couple of weeks, every Friday I just jump on VR chat with a bunch of people, and we just like go to like some Publix, and we just chill and drink, and we just do drinking games. We just socialize. It's like going out to the pub where we can't do it at the moment, and it's great. And like this last Friday gone, we met some interesting people, and like the group grew, which was interesting. But at the same time, you never really know who a person is. And like the group was having like a good time, and then this dude just out of nowhere just starts dropping F slurs all over the damn place, as if it's like second damn nature. And he was like, "Come on, man!" Like, it's that kind of thing. It's just as soon as we see that kind of thing, it's just like, nah, I'm out. I'm good. It's just really, I don't know where I was going with this. It's just really hard to find like decent people on.
Well, like that's why I like VR chat. Not because people are saying slurs. That's not the thing to like.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
It's more so the fact that it feels like the early days of the internet where anything and anyone could be anything and anywhere. Like, it's not civilized in the fucking slightest.
Oh, God, no. Like, yesterday, I was testing out to see if I could actually stream VR chat because my internet is crap. I wanted to test it out. And it works. And my first ever time in VR chat on stream, I was in the Black Cat pub, just having a chat. We had a good discussion about why are breadsticks from Olive Garden so good.
They pull them off of the bread tree every day.
Like, we had a good debate going. And then just around the corner, there was just a giant 3D model of a crab with a sign above its head that just said, "Come." Well,
that's what I'm saying, though. VR chat, because it is so uncivilized, offers unfiltered creativity in all aspects, which has the unfortunate side effect of giving terrible people a platform, but also the benefit of giving artists a way to express themselves in a limitless way.
Yeah, which is what I love. I love just seeing some of the stuff that people come up with.
You can find somebody who has made a 3D gallery of all of their artwork, and it's beautiful and serene, and you can tell how much time they've spent learning Unity to put together this art show for their own display. And then, like, 2 doors down, you can find a bunch of Ugandan knuckles worshipping Hitler. It is literally the Wild West. There is nothing. There's no consistency, and that's what makes it beautiful, is the fact that, like, there is just unlimited potential.
VR chat is just a gem. It's just a gem. It's so good.
And by the way, if you do find those Ugandan knuckles, do actually report that room to VR chat. They do take those down, and we should probably get rid of them.
Yeah.
I feel the need to clarify that.
Yeah, if I see people like being blatantly racist and all that kind of stuff, I do report them.
Just nuke them from orbit. I needed to state that because I was thinking about it and I was like, man, my unlimited creativity talk probably shouldn't have ended on Ugandan knuckles worshipping Hitler. I had to clarify because that is not something we want to see. But I'm saying I enjoy the fact that it is possible for people to make what they want But again, be responsible with this power.
I think that is a really good point to just end on. A good message.
Good message, don't be racist.
Don't be racist.
I mean, it is a good message.
It's a good message. And there we go. We've talked about some really weird things today. I think we need that redeemed us.
I'm so sorry for your editing. This was a 90-minute episode.
Oh, dude, it's good. It's fine.
10 times over 100 times the length of a Gigamax spawn in PSO2.
But that's where we're going to end this episode off. Thank you for joining us. We'll be picking back up again next week, hopefully. We're still figuring things out. Things are going to be rough around the edges. Don't worry about it. We'll figure things out. Stick with us. Stick with us.
Stick.
Anyway, Cam, what have you got coming up in the works this week?
All right, so by the time that this podcast is edited and released, I will have a new video up on my main channel. So go check it out, youtube.com/c/LumoBlaze. It's all about creating a homing system in Unreal and other such things. But both of the things that I did well take up maybe 15 seconds of this. It is quite literally 10 minutes of me screaming about vector math.
Oh man, that sounds exciting.
God, dude, trying to fix this animation bug. Literally, I started on the 11th this month because I took the first week off to chill with some friends for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I started on the 11th, and from the 12th to the 25th, I was debugging this.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm a broken man.
I myself, coming up this week, I am hoping to get some... I've been working on a project for about over 2 months now, which is about the benefits and if Ring Fit actually works. With some extra spice added in, otherwise it's just going to be the same as every other video out there about Ring Fit. I've got an Overcooked 2 video coming up soon with a couple of friends that we did. That was a mess. So hopefully I've got 2 videos coming out, which is going to mark the start of my channel starting to do regular uploads again, hopefully. And obviously I got to edit this and this. Check out the next episode of the Tangents podcast.
Home of your 2 favorite idiots.
But anyway, we hope to see you next week. And other than that, have a great rest of your... No, that's a Calbus thing!
Wishing people a good day is not unique to Calbus, Alex.
But it's so ubiquitous.
What, do you think people shake hands have a nice day, Jim? And he's like, I noticed that Calbus reference you just made there.
Wait until you hear what I said in the freaking Tumblr episode. I suggested the Pope is a Calbus viewer.
Come next week for more this. God.
Why are endings so hard? See you next week.